Hey there, hello and welcome back to the channel and the next episode of Railroads Online. So in the last episode, we connected our logging camp to the sawmill and the sawmill to the freight depot and laid out our tracks, made it nice and smooth, cleared out the trees and a bunch of some other stuff. So in this episode, we are going to fire up our engine, Betsy here, buy a few more flatbed cars and take them out for a round. So since the last episode, there have been a few changes or updates made to the game by the devs, and the most major one of them is with regards to the fuel. So the fire depot is the building that is now a lot more important. If our engine would run out of firewood, you could just build a depot, pick up wood from there without supplying it, even if it is at zero number, feed it into the engine and get going. So that has changed in this update. And also now the water tower has a limit on the amount of water it has. So if I move to this water tower, you'll see that you see this number 360 on 360. So this indicates that the water tower is now full. And before this change, this was practically unlimited. You could just keep it open and fill up your engine with steam and move on. So yeah, so that is the changes that are there. So let's get on with our episode. Let's fire up the engine and let's get going. So first things first, we'll move here, pick up our firewood, crouch down, open the hatch and drop the firewood in. Right, so if I hit F, you can now see on the bottom left corner there's a fuel rising to 7.1, sorry, decreasing from 7.1 and going back. So that means it is now consuming the fuel and it's picking it up. So by the time this gets heated and the engine, yeah, now the fuel is full. Let's close up this door, and in this time let's hook up the first car. So out here we add in our link and the pin. There you go, that's one. And we also need to buy a few more cars. So before that, we have about $1,400 G locomotives. Let's give them a number. 01 order. All right, so we have few cars here. So there are 1 2 3 4 5 cars, and you can hear the engine, you can hear the sound from the engine. So it's firing up. So the way to link up these cars is hold the left mouse button and drag up to add a link, and then hold the right mouse button and drag down to add in the pin. So we'll add one more here. And there you go. So yeah, so this car will connect into this one with the pin, and yeah, and this car will link up with the first one there, which will in return link back to car number 3. So we have all that. Let's go check on the engine. Okay, so there's a good fire, and you can see that the fire temperature is about 329, boiler pressure is full. So there are two ways of driving the train. The first one is with the drag and pull controls. This is a regulator, increases the speed. This is the brake that reduces the speed. This is our reverser that tells it to go either forward, back or neutral. And this is the sander, which is useful in heavy grades. And the second one is to use this menu with the UI. So I'll first start off with this, set the reverser to full, brakes to 0. Okay, reverser to full, brakes to 0, and slowly open up the regulator and let Betsy move ahead. So I'll just let her coast. There, so we're almost there at the car, so I'm going to slow down. Oops, I stopped. Just a bit more. Open the brakes, exit this, and link this. So that sound says that it has been linked. So now let's check the brake on the car. Now the brakes are open, and you can run it. There, put it at 2%, let it keep chugging along. In that meantime, I'll just check onto our switches. So yeah, this is switched to the right, so that means it will first take the train coming on this from the right side, and once the engine is through, we can switch back to the center line. So just get back onto the engine, open up the throttle a little bit more, and lean out. So we are gaining good speed, so I'll reduce the throttle, almost there. Okay, we have crossed the switch. Let's stop the train, turn the reverse around. Oh no. Switch to the center. Brakes off, reverser in full, and let's go back. So while it's picking up speed, I'll turn off the regulator, let it slowly coast back right into the car. And slowly open up the brakes. a bit too early. There, that's linked. Now to open up the brakes. Okay, it needs a little bit more juice, or probably remove the brake. Okay, we're almost there, just about 2 more. And that should be good. Yep, perfect. Link that, release the brakes. So right now we have one car in the front and we'll be attaching the rest of the cars to the back. So maybe later this will be fixed. Definitely later this will be fixed. And we'll have all the cars on one side of the engine. So checking on the switches. Yep, the first switch will accept from the central track and the second switch will also accept it from the second central track. So I'll just turn down the regulator, it's going a bit too fast. So the tracks are almost one, so once the second car as well crosses the switch, we can stop the train and switch the tracks onto the third line and get the last 2 remaining cars. Turn up the brakes. There we go. Yep, just about right. Switch on to the last one. Come back here, regulator at take out the brakes. Brakes off, reverse and full, and a little bit on the regulator. So we're underway. Okay, and I will see you in a bit. And let's slowly open up the regulator. And now we're on our way. Turn back and check. I hope all 4 cars are okay. Now if I turn back and check, I hope all the 4 cars are coming along, and Yes, we have our 5 car train moving on. So now since the entire train is moving, there's no more slack. Let's open up the regulator a little bit more, give it more steam, let it build up speed. If you see here, the fire temperature is out, the fire is dead, and there's no more fuel added, but we still have boiler pressure and there is some water temperature. So I guess we will make it to the sawmill where we can refuel and carry on. Okay, this is a curve. This is the first turn, about a 30-degree curve. We're still at low speed, so it's safe. So now let's move on. Coming up is the hill that takes us right towards the sawmill. So this is a pretty gentle curve, so I let it go at the current speed. If the track here looks a bit wobbly, but I hope we'll make it. Okay, we are dropping from boiler pressure. Okay, I'm out of boiler pressure. Let me add some more fuel. Okay, I'm out of boiler pressure, adding a little bit more fuel. Okay, I've added more fuel and it looks like the fire is starting up again. Let's hit F, enter the vehicle, and yep, the fire is on, the water temperature is going up. Alright, so we have the engine's fire going, the boiler pressure is full, and we also have a lot of water. I'm gonna go back into the driving view, open up the regulator since we are on a grade, and slowly ease off the brakes. So we're almost there. Let's turn down the regulator. Yep, we have the sawmill right in view, and the entire train has made it through. Slowly turn up brakes. Okay, we have just about enough tracks to make it through. I'll just quickly extend this and get back. Alright, I'm back. I've extended the tracks a little bit. Turns out it was sufficient. The entire train fit in. To that, the switch is flipped, reverses at full 100%. Let's take down the brakes and open up the regulator and get on towards the logging camp. So in the sawmill here, this side is where we drop out the logs into this pool. It goes into the log mill, it's processed. On the other side, on the opposite side of the logging, on the opposite side of the mill, we can pick up the timber and lumber from there. Yep, so here right now there are 0 logs and it has a capacity of 100. Alright, so now we are on our way to the logging camp. We have moved on to the next track, and this part of the route is really beautiful. There are a few bridges and a really nice view. I did not put this on the previous video because I wanted to keep it a surprise for all of you. So I hope you enjoy the view. Okay, so now that the switch is aligned, let's get back into the right track. So yeah, the grade is a bit steep, so you can see without the regulator as well, the train is able to move. So I'll just let it go ahead under its own weight. Alright, we're at the logging camp, so let's start loading up. Click here, come back here, and this one. So this is how it loads up all the logs. So the second log, so each car holds up to 6 logs. So the first has 1, second 1. Okay, so the last car is fully loaded. We just need 2 more here and 1 last log. So the last 2 cars are loaded. Let's move the train back. Do we have sufficient track length? I hope so. Okay, it's building up speed. Turn off the regulators. Brakes. Okay, so it looks like there's sufficient space for 1 more car to fit in. So I guess that will be used up when the train moves a bit more further back. Okay, we're almost aligned. And will this load any of the cars? Yep. The last 3 cars are loaded up and the first car is loaded up. So train needs to move a bit more back. Or maybe let's take it forward this time because we're almost at the end of the track at the end. So the engine is having a bit of a trouble moving ahead at a very low regulator setting. The fire is also out and the boiler temperature is falling. Alright, we're back onto the bridge and here we are running in first person mode. It's really shaking a lot, but yeah, that's just with the first person. So it looks like we have a good fire, there's sufficient boiler pressure, there's lots of water, and even at a very low regulator of 7% we are going pretty fast. So in the distance there you can see the smokestacks for the sawmill. And this is the other side of the tracks. So there's a train. And there's us standing right at the edge on the footboard. Yeah, it's a small train right now, but we'll get really big really soon. Yep, the scenery is just beautiful out here. So I guess it's time to cut off the regulator. Let's let the sawmill know we're on our way. And open up the brakes. Let's close the brakes. Yearly general 28%. Let's take it down, let it roll in. Let's get the brakes going again. A little bit more. A little harder. And stop. So we're here. Let's unload. Before we unload, let's take a look at how much we have. That's $236. And click and pull it down. So we have the logs falling. Let's move out of the way. So one of the logs got stuck. It looks like it's about $30 per log. And if we check the count here, yeah, it's consuming them. This and drop. Let's unload the second car. That's the third car. Fourth and the last car, that is our fifth one. So yeah, this is the perfect length. All of them are going right in. So if we cross the lake, go on to the other side, you can see the logs are lined up to go into the lumber mill, into the sawmill. Yeah, so we are starting to generate lumber. That's about 7 of them. A lot more to go. And about 8 more beams. We have 8 beams right now. So I'll do a few more rounds between the lumber camp and the sawmill, and I'll let this go as a time lapse. So let's do a few more rounds between the lumber camp and the sawmill, between the logging camp and the sawmill, and generate some more cash so that we can buy a few more cars and move the beams and logs and move the beams and timber from our sawmill to the freight depot. So I'll just write this one out from the last car. Alright, so we're back at the sawmill, and as you can see right now there are about 31 more logs in the lake, and the reason for this is that we are now full on lumber and on beams. So basically right now our output for the sawmill is all 100% full, and putting in more logs will just make the lake more full, and it's better to just move this from here back to a freight depot. So in the next episode I'll construct a groundwork and the line going from our sawmill, from the output part of the sawmill, connect it back probably to the main line and again to a freight depot, and transport some of the lumber and the beams there. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching till the end. Do like, share, subscribe, and put in your comments, and I would really like to hear from you what you think about this content and what you would like to see in the coming episodes. Thank you and bye bye.